GM Farcaster's On-Chain Summer has kicked off with CastOut. 16 players will try to outwit, outplay, and outcast for a chance to win 100,000 DGen. Players will start in two tribes, Mole and Wow. And today brings the second challenge. The two tribes will compete to see who has the most liked meme. Each tribe will post a meme in the channel of their choice at 3 p.m. Eastern today, and the meme with the most likes on Warpcast by tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern wins immunity. The losing tribe will cast out a player from their tribe. Note, owners of a channel may not be the ones who post in that channel, so be strategic in your casting. If you're not a cast out player, you can still play along. Back your favorite player on bracket.game. If you have a GM Farcaster Hypersub, you can claim free packs or pick up some shares at bracket.game. See the Cast Out channel for more info. And don't forget to go like your favorite meme. Are you ready and on? Let's outwit, outplay, and outcast this on-chain summer with Cast Out. And thank you to Pinata.cloud for supporting Cast Out and GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster, welcome to the second episode, Cast Out edition for our on-chain summer game, Cast Out. And I have TLDR here back again to give us the bracket game analysis. Welcome, Tim. And then we also have Jace here with us. And it is Jace, right? Am I saying
it
right?
is. You got it right.
Okay. And I'm calling it right now, our first official superfan for Cast Out.
And we were talking about this beforehand. It's like I like to see myself as an armchair analyst.
Love it.
Analyst taste on commentator taste on an analyst budget, or the other way around. So whatever you want to look at that.
Absolutely love it. And I love that you've been engaging so much in the channel, and I'm going to show some of those casts in just a minute. But let's talk about our challenge. So we dropped this challenge yesterday. Everybody saw that video that kind of gives you the idea of what happened. And then we had the two tribes share their memes. So this is the Mole meme. We've got a little, and it had to be Farcaster themed, something about Farcaster. So we have Dan here, play a different game with the R chat on, and this is for Mole, and Cameron posted it in Reply Guys. And then we have this from the Wow team. We've got the Farcaster figures meme, Boomer Dads and Millennial Girls, and it's pretty funny if you go through and read it. We've got great opportunity for another client. Many such cases, the parenting channel, it's pretty funny. And then on the other side, you basically have Ted. So this is basically a Dan and Ted meme, if you haven't quite figured that out. And let me show just sort of how this all went down in the channel. We do have, actually, let me put this back up. This is the final count. Mole had 516 likes. Wow with 845. I only counted likes. That was the challenge. If I do this again, I think I also include some of these other metrics like recasts and quote casts. I think those add some value there as well, but I think it still would have worked out the same. But it was quite a battle. They went to battle. And so Mole put theirs out there first. Like I said, they put it in Reply Guys. They had to choose which channel. They went with Reply Guys as a strategic move because Johnny Nonlinear is on the other team, and he's the meme lord. And then, of course, they casted in memes. They could not, the owner of the channel could not cast. So Ted, also with a huge number of followers, casted in the memes channel, and they were off, but they were a little late. So this particular cast came through and I lost it, absolutely lost it. So Mole casted right at around 3 p.m. They could cast anytime from 3 p.m. on Eastern. And it took a couple hours before Wow casted. And this was from Mish, hearing some serious yelling from the other room. Jace, where the fuck is the other meme? And I did love that, Jace. I loved that you were as invested as you were. So like, what is it that is getting you so excited about this? And are you playing bracket game also?
Yes, I am. So I've inserted myself into both teams as the mutual Rasputin. Um, the, the thing that was,
I love it.
I mean, I think that Tim definitely knows it. We've gone on rants before where we're in this really interesting place of being the intersection of new and exciting and young, but in a world that still has to function in a way that people can use. And so I think a lot of that frustration came out of, going from just like normal real life work, where if I'm sending something in 3 minutes late, I'm thinking about it for the rest of the day. I thought that it was like some sort of mind game of, like I have to go
Strategy.
find this meme. And I'm like, if that's the case, forget it. I'm not doing it.
Everyone's overthinking some things. Like I keep getting notes even from the team of like, I saw you cast this, so now I'm looking for the hidden immunity idol in it. I'm like, it's not there. Like that's not what I'm doing. Like it'll be a little more clear than that. But it's funny because I think a lot of people are overthinking things. Here's what was happening in the background. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of the BTS. The Mole tribe is extremely organized.
Yes.
And what they finally did was, I could tell because there was much less chatter. They created a second chat that I'm not in. But they tend to be very organized. I watched them in the first challenge, incredibly organized. So right at 3 p.m., they were gone. They were up. It was done. And they did something very simple. The other team, a lot of creatives, very interesting group, a little bit of chaos, and they were just finalizing things. It was taking a little bit longer. They were using Figma. They were coordinating, but it wasn't as organized. It was a little bit more chaotic. But it was interesting that they had a Figma going and they're all contributing to it and they're adding to it and they were just finalizing things and it just took a little bit longer. So, just a little, that was all it was. And I watched it in the background and I'm like, they're losing time and there's something to that. But at the same rate, I had a feeling they could make up that time. This was really their challenge to lose. So
that was, and the crowd, even though our sample size was small, before, sight unseen, the people that did contribute their perspectives were correct. And I think that the rationale behind that was probably pretty clear.
Yeah. So you've been doing some surveys on Ponder, which is fantastic. And we had this which tribe will win this cast out meme challenge. And it was overwhelming wow, right? 63% to 38%. You've also done one for which tribe will win cast out. And it really will come down to which person and what tribe were they on originally. So, and that one is pretty close.
Yeah.
You've got 51% wow Mole and 49% wow. So that one's really close. The meme one was not very close. And I think that was pretty accurate. Like I felt kind of the same way. And actually watching from the background on the first challenge, I knew Mole had it pretty early on because they were so organized in the game. So it's really interesting when you can see the behind the scenes, it's pretty easy to see like where those advantages are. But
the count was surprisingly close. Like,
for a while.
I think Wow was like a little bit nervous.
They did,
and then they just kind of blew it away with the reach. I would love to like just nerd out a little bit on on their strategies. Just and hear what you guys think about, like, if you notice anything about the way that they, how they chose to go for the most likes in different ways. Like, I think it's just interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the most interesting aspect.
For sure.
So what did you guys see because I saw other things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I want to say, but I'm curious what you saw. What do you think their strategies were? Let me go with that, and then I'll give you some reveal.
Well, I know what I saw. And
okay, what did you see?
Strategically, both teams did well. I give them a B on their strategids. I think that
solid B. He's a tough grader.
Yeah.
He's a tougher grader than I am.
Oh God, I'm giving I'm grading on a curve for this one. Now to pin into memes was wise. That's a great move.
Yep.
To cast into reply guys, also wise.
Yep.
That same pinning strategy could have been something leveraged. It's like, hey, can you pin this for 2 days? Some high volume, high traction channel probably would have been on board for that.
I think that tell you there was some effort made to do that, and I don't know that it came together. But but Mole was reaching out, and Wow to other hosts of channels, and pinning it in channels that they hosted. So they were pinning it if it was their channel, and then they were asking others to pin for them. But I don't think they quite got the right one that had enough traction for Mole. I mean,
yeah, I mean, obviously there's that like inherent advantage and home court advantage. Right, like there is a home court advantage for Johnny having the meme channel and like
totally,
absolutely.
Like obviously, but I think Ted did something and the team did something. Ted posted it, but like the team did something really interesting with like, I think Ted used the text of her cast to invite replies and engagement. What am I missing? And I think she teed up a question that was fun for people to think about and respond to in a meaningful way that like made people also want to click in and look at that. So like the thing that I don't know is like, if that because replies and engagement with the replies is obviously so huge for something getting reach. And I think that this got like 3 or 4 times the reach.
It got a lot more views.
Four times the view reach.
Yeah, and it did get a lot. It got well over 100 recasts more than the Mole team. However, Mole had a lot more quote casts, which I think is interesting, and I'm not sure if that was part of that. Might have helped in the reply guys. The reply guys love to do a little quote cast.
True. So like Mole, yeah, no, that was smart. We haven't got to the Mole analysis yet though. Like, but like one thing to note is that like the reach, 4x the views for Wow, right? Like, which is it's just almost impossible to overcome. Mm-hmm. Rate of likes for Mole was incredible.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so Cameron made that point early on, was like the percentage of likes to views, that should have been the metric. And I'm like, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That is definitely something we could look at for a future season as one of the metrics, because I do think that's a great point. That was, for the number of views they got, the like percentage was higher. So that was,
there would be some interesting game theory in that one too, because like what happens, or what anyone will notice that happens, is that the more reach they get, more views that anyone gets, the less likes and engagement that you'll get just naturally So on that one, you would have this interesting game of how do I get something that's not going to go too big, but like everybody who sees it will like it. And so that's
the way I'm envisioning is some way to like take all these metrics and give them points, so that it's not one thing. Like, so it's not just one aspect of it. I think that would be the better way. It's just a matter of like, okay, how do I do that? So that'll be something I'll figure out between now and August.
Well, this was also fun though. This is a great one to start with.
It was so fun. It was really fun. And both of them were funny. I mean, they both had great meme quality. Like, I was impressed, like they had some legs. Well, according to Jace, it's only a B. It's a B meme. They're B memes, but
strategy was a solid B. content wise, I was given maybe a D+.
Wow, really?
And this is why I say
they were grade for each team.
What's that?
You have the same grade for each team, or
yeah? I mean, they were hyper niche. They
but that was on purpose. Yeah,
neither resonated. I didn't give a vote to either of them because if I saw them not in competition, I wouldn't think either of them were funny or resonated with me. One thing that I think was also a missed opportunity. It's like, I mean, we have such. First of all, there's meme guys and gals and people in these teams. You know, I was looking, I was like, man, we got the Camerons on one side, we got the Johnnies on the other side. This is really interesting. This is going to be good. But then also, there's so many ancillary players that could have been leveraged. It's like either team could have, you know, leaned into the Pugsons of the world, and like, I mean, a Pugson meme will like get a cackle out of me, and like talk about throwing something out there that takes, you know, nothing more than just observing the situation that just hits so hard. So I thought that was a missed opportunity as well.
That's interesting. So I didn't give them any limitations on using like an artist or using somebody else to create the meme.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. The only limitation I gave, and it probably wasn't enough, I said the owner couldn't post it, but I probably should have said the owner couldn't pin it either. So that was my bad. Oh, yes, I believe the chat asked Mish to go talk to you about your grade.
She just jumped in and said Pugson bribe. Which I think would have been wise. It's one team could have been in a bidding war with Pugson, being like, here's 100,000 D-Gen, give me like just 5 hits right now.
Give me something good right now. I need something good.
I don't know.
It's funny. They did both have, what was the other thing that was really interesting? I saw this happen in both chats. They both went to the data. They're like, what memes get the most likes? And they did think about that. And I thought that was interesting. And I think it says a lot about the people who are playing. And there were multiple people who did that. We're like, let's look at the data, like what gets most hits, what gets most likes. And yeah, so it was funny.
How did they get that?
Mole got our meme literally from Pugson. There you go. I'm getting that note right now in the chat from Adrian.
Okay.
Pugson, something about Pugson's ego is still a winner. So there you go. It was tapped into. There you go.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I did not know that information. Thank you for
that. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know who's not talking to me, talking to me, listening to me.
He is completely just observing this as a member of the audience and CastOut superfan.
I'm Jace is the tough grader, and I'm like the soft grader because I liked both of them. Like I think
I liked them both.
I almost like from the Wow meme, like it almost made me feel nostalgic. Like it was partly funny, but it was partly just like this is like I love this because I love Farcaster, and it's just like it's right in sort of some of the archetypes that have been so important in like setting a kind of, you know, funny, different, positive culture. So that was just like really fun and nostalgic, and I enjoyed it. And then honestly, the Mole one for me, I mean, the meme is funny just solely for the look on Dan's face that they chose. This is like a look that Dan does. Like that just like it's just like if you
it's his opportunity for another client look.
The meme of Dan, like it's just like a fun funny like Dan face to put on anything.
And I'll be honest, so like this particular season is geared towards the OGs, right? Yeah. It really is. It's OG players. It's you know, when the only other instruction I gave them about the meme challenge was something about Farcaster. Right. Yeah. So that was their only limitations. And I have to say, you're making a great point here, Tim. I think the wow, like reaching out and saying, hey, what do we miss? Who else? What are the other figures? Who else should we do? And I don't know if you saw this from Ted this morning. This is the Farcaster figures Gen Z girlies. There aren't any. So there you go. That's the joke. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
slow cook.
Slow cook. It takes a second to get it. Yeah. Takes a minute.
Okay. It took me a second to get moles though. Like and like I had to like read around in the comments. Like it wasn't immediately. I knew it was something funny because of how many great reactions that I saw, but like I had to go back and read some things to find. And so like that was a kind of fun element of that, of finding a reference that like wasn't so safe that like everybody instantly knows it. Cause that's like the less risky thing, is like to go with something super safe that everybody will definitely know. I liked that they chose something that I had to dig a little bit. It was like a risky choice. And I think to me that might be why it was just like such a high quality. You got such a high ratio for people who saw it. That like
they said Dan instantly knew it. He did give a little LOL on that one, and recasted it. And Toady asked me if does a Dan recast count for additional points. I said no, but a Dan like does equal 1 like.
That's fair. Yes.
That was it.
And it also, a Dan like also counts for 1 Dan like. So
one Dan like.
That's also its own thing. But Tim, to your point, and also the flip side of that is, in my meme tastes, it should be funny even if you don't know what anyone's talking about. Sure. Like, and so because this was, it's like,
both were a little more of a thinker. Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
I've been here for a while, and it's like I adjacently got what was being referred to, but also I didn't care, and that was part of the thing. Like Wow Wows grew on me because I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, those are things, but it wasn't like it's not one of those things that just hits right off the bat where you think you get it. It's funny. But then you really get it, and it's hilarious. And that was, it's kind of like when you say something funny to your friends and you just say it because you're in the moment versus like, I need to think of something funny to say to my friends. Like it just changes the calculus of it.
I think that is very true. Those, and the other thing is I gave them a lot of time on this one, and they were like, you gave us too much time. Like, because they did overthink a little bit, but
which is funny because
Cameron in the chat just said rough logic. Dan's dumb face was for mass appeal.
Yeah, it's funny too because noticing how the Yoink challenge felt like it was too long, whereas this one felt like it was too much time to prepare.
Probably too much time. Yeah.
However, we talked about this offline, and I do think that in the future, first challenge has to be an endurance one. Like I think
because I was questioning, and I said this to Jace. I said I was questioning that maybe it should be just 12 hours. It was too much on the players, and he said no, it needs to be that physical endurance. Like let's make it really like Survivor kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, there's something to that. That's interesting.
Yeah, you got hurt him.
Yeah, you got to hurt him. You gotta hurt him if he wants to hurt you. Endurance challenges. I do want to talk bracket game and just see where we're at here. And interesting. So Ted's still sitting up top there. But when we look at owners, we've got Adrian solid at the top with the owners. As we scroll down, Yasik is still holding 6 owners, and I don't understand. He's out.
So I
can't win.
These might be people who got him in a pack. It was, but the craziest thing is that Yasik did not drop below Brian.
Brian is still on the bottom for both.
I mean, people have
like owners and amounts. So what does that say, do you think, about? Okay, so let me ask you your predictions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Survivor strategy in general. Usually early votes come down to people who didn't contribute much to the challenge or to, the camp, because they're actually, building stuff and shelters and all that kind of thing. So there could be something to that. The other strategy is, do we try to get out players who we think are going to beat us down the road? They have one more team challenge though. So what are your predictions as to who from the Mole team is being voted out today?
Timmy?
So, I mean, Bracket seems to be clearly predicting Brian. And I'll go with like the ask the audience. And it fits with your theory, Prof, in the sense that, people are probably looking at Brian and thinking like, oh, like he's not going to try. So like,
he's also had some stuff happen. If you're paying attention to what's been going on, he's got some things going on. So
100%.
That's
maybe they'll take pity on him for that reason.
It's interesting when we're playing this game and everything's very public and people know each other. It puts a lot of different aspects to the game in play than if everybody's sequestered on an island somewhere. So, Jace, what do you think? What's your prediction here?
Yeah, I think that's probably I think that's probably a wise bet. Brian's been going through a lot lately. I haven't talked to him since that time, but seeing and hearing, and especially hearing from Mish, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just like, I got to go deal with other stuff. Like, I'm a freebie. We don't know. That would be my guess. But if not,
we just
here's the other thought too. Is like, if Brian goes, I wonder if down the line, if what Grace's level of investment will be. Like,
interesting.
Might get a case of the Scroots, might run through the family. So who knows?
We'll see.
Well,
let's reveal. So our cast out today is indeed Brian.
Wow.
Brian has been cast out by the Mole team. It was unanimous, so no need to do any kind of dramatic vote reveals. And Brian, we're sorry to see you go, but I do believe he did not. From what I saw, I didn't see him contributing to the team challenge. I think he was distracted with other things, and that was it. So bracket game is pretty good. Pretty good predictor.
Yep.
Pretty good predictor. People are on it right now. So that's really interesting. So thank you, Brian, for playing. He did play a little bit in the Yoink game and then sort of disappeared. And I think that's when everything he was dealing with went down. So so anyway, so thank you, Brian. We hope you recover your funds. And it's a bummer, but
tip Brian.
Love you anyway. Tip Brian some DGen, please.
No,
and everybody, actually, one thing I will say to the players, remember that you're not on an island, and that people will, remember what you did. So I will say that it did get a little spicy. I don't know if you saw, but yeah, Kristen went hard. There was some new pasta created by Ted, so we do need to talk a little bit about that. So Kristen went a little hard. I was
so impressed. I was impressed by that.
I was impressed as well. It was a lot, though. It was a lot. So she was suggesting that there was going to be tipping for those who, unlike the other teams, meme cast. So what happened was Ted reached out a little bit here, had some things to say about that, and she said, "Hi casters, friendly reminder, I am a Farcaster data sleuth. We know exactly who liked this cast and then unliked it and then got paid or tipped in DGen. Best part about Farcaster is that it's all public data. What isn't public is the private messages, but we know about those too. Love, Team Wow Wow." It was like a little bit of threatening there. And what was really funny was the pasta that followed. And there was multiple pasta happening. And let me see if I can find Horse Facts, because his was absolutely hilarious. But also Lynx did one. There was a few of them, and I'll have to put them in the show notes because I don't think I grabbed them for the show, but they were absolutely hilarious. So Well done, friends. I'm loving like the approaches here and the funny things that people are doing. Let me see if I can find horse facts, because that was really funny. And yeah, here it is. Everyone just got a little crazy. It was funny. So this was horse facts with hi Uli posting a kind warning. So this one is in the one that you can't use the letter E. If you don't know what Uli posting is,
I love horse facts.
You can't even say the letter E. A kind warning. I am a major protocol data snoop. I know who posts that glyph and quickly unposts it and thinks nobody saw your slip up. Cool thing about this protocol is that it's all public data. What isn't public is in your DCs. But I know about that too. XOXO, your mod and janitor. And when we had Nick Porter, hi repliers, friendly reminder, I am a reply guy, data sleuth. We know exactly who only liked a cast and kept scrolling and then replied to a bot account. Best part about reply guys is that all moves are public. What isn't public is in your replies IRL, but we would reply to those too. Love team reply guy.
See, so, I love that the NPCs are becoming the most interesting aspect of this. So this is great.
It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So that was really funny to see, like, this sort of I wouldn't call it drama. That's a big stretch. But like the little bit of competitiveness then turning into something that gets like copy pasted all over the place, and it's hilarious. So
it's competitive. I mean, that's what I
competitive.
Like, they're competitive people, and it's fun. I absolutely love to see it. Like it's I think that, like, you know, I would say again, like, it's starting, like the memes are starting to leak out and people are starting. Part of the reason that I put this like a little drama between Ted and Cameron is I want people to realize they're like missing out on like some pretty fun dynamics here, right? Like everybody's got a good spirit, but like competitive, and like I wish that people could see the group chats.
I know.
Like if they could just see the people collaborating, like just how like thought
awesome.
and planning that's going into it. I wish there was some way.
It would be too much insider information for Rec Game.
I'm just like, in what way could like more of these kind of so that's what I liked about the leaking out of like the teams kind of coming at each other a little bit, is like the group chat emerging a little bit into public, and us getting to kind of watch the arena. They're fighting in the arena. They're
fighting in the arena.
You know, Elon and Zuckerberg going into the Coliseum and having it out.
Okay, that's a big stretch, but yes.
We're getting there.
That's your next meme. That's the next meme. We have Cameron and Ted in the arena.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see, and it's really fun to see people getting into it. And I'm enjoying every minute, and I cannot wait for Monday. So assuming that everything is ready, I have one little thing that we're tweaking. The challenge for Monday will be super fun, but it will end with the halving, which means that the team that wins will have to let go of fewer people, but both teams are going to vote people out on Monday, on Tuesday, technically Tuesday. But also anyone will be able to play this particular game. So we'll have a separate leaderboard for the CastOut players, but also we'll have some prizes for other people too. So it's going to be fun. I'm really excited. Can't wait. And there is a hidden immunity chat idol that's already out there. And there's another one that will drop later today. So the person, if anyone was holding it, nobody DC'd me to say they wanted to use it. So apparently Brian did not have hidden immunity idol. So it'll be interesting to see how those come into play on Tuesday as well. So a few things. It'll be a whole different dynamic. So it's going to be both individual and team at the same time. So we'll see. We'll see.
Without saying too much, is there a objective scoring mechanism?
Yes.
Okay, because what would be interesting?
On chain.
What would be interesting is if the non-players, if just the civilians that are in the casts if the winner or if the top leader in the non-participatory side of things is outperforming the contestants, there should be a repercussion.
No, there will be a reward for that person.
Yeah, but we should punish the players.
I'm more of a carrot kind of person than a stick kind of person.
Yeah,
but, you know, but it's an idea. It's an idea. Not for this time, but I'll think it through for next time.
Yeah,
how we could do that. But there will be it will mess with their game anyway.
That's good.
Every competition show with judges and analysts needs the one like super tough like Simon Cowell type, and we found it.
Apparently, we found our Simon. He's over there. Yeah, we found our Simon.
Try to be the Stephen A. Smith.
I want somebody to be punished.
Yeah.
Somebody to be punished.
I'll work on
Paula, if you haven't noticed.
I'll work on my. I'll get some outboard compression and limiting so I can yell more. But no, this is really fun. It's exciting, and I think that the overlap between the competition itself and bracket does make it a interesting investment for everybody instead of just a team building exercise for a select few. So this is nice.
Exactly. And that was sort of my plan was like, how can we involve everyone? And I think that this is working really well to do that for sure. Yeah. I do want to show bracket just one more time and see, you know, a quick analysis because Dillstack is way up there. I just noticed, which is interesting. That's really interesting. He's been a little quieter in this game so far. So,
well, you know, people don't know. I guess like that's not really clear to the audience necessarily. So Brian, I think it was pretty good call.
Brian was toward the bottom at the very beginning, like this whole time. Yeah, he's been low.
Well, what's interesting about this too, and the average user wouldn't, unless they're into other betting markets, they may not recognize this. There is a difference between the value of the share of the outcome versus how many owners there are.
Right.
So if the price is high, but the owners count is few, then it means that there are few that hold a lot, which isn't necessarily a good gauge of how they will fare in the future.
That's interesting.
Right. You got some big buys on TED, for example. Yeah.
And that's to be expected, you know, with visibility, familiarity. People like to invest in things that are familiar. But in the future, and you know, Tim, you've probably already thought about this and accounted for it. When bracket really starts to take off, there's a whole other level of gamesmanship that comes into play where people will find undervalued positions and pump a lot of value into it. And then so out of the blue, someone will say, option XYZ is going nuts. I got to get in on this action. Wait for it to go up, knowing that maybe it doesn't have a chance, and then completely liquidate and just turn a profit, but not be in it for the long term. So
it's pump and dump scheme on
a person.
Yeah, you see it on that predicted all the time.
We talked about Brennan the other day, and he's gone up quite a bit because he was way at the bottom the other day. And same time, Kristen's had a little rise. I think Riley and Ivy are way undervalued.
I think
way undervalued.
Let's see if people on that.
They're both like Riley played Crypto the Game. I don't know. I remember how long she lasted. And Ivy like literally has former Survivor players coaching her. Literal.
Wow.
So
wait, Prop,
doing that what you will.
So how many people are voted out now? So there's
next time we're gonna have 7 people voted out.
7 out. 4 from one
7
team from the other.
Probably. It's gonna depend on a few things. So it's gonna depend on how they do in the challenge. And yes, you will have 4 from one, 3 from the other. whoever team wins will only have to vote out 3, but they'll still have to vote out 3. Also, the top player from each one will be immune.
Interesting.
Ooh.
So we're throwing in some things. And then there's also, like I said, there's a hidden immunity idol that's already out there. There's another one that will be released later today. So those could come into play as well.
Interesting.
So it's going to get interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't envy them.
Yeah, it's going to get a little complicated.
Had a really cool idea, which was use programmatic direct casts to publish the log of the group chat after. So you know that it can't get spilled too early, but because I don't know, it would be really fun for people to see who's active, who is contributing, like, you know.
But I'm trying to figure out, like, so that we talked about this the other day, like usually when you watch Survivor, you're watching it months after it's ended. So it doesn't impact the gameplay at all. Everything we do that we talk about on here could impact the gameplay. Actually, so that's a different approach. Yeah. Which good or bad.
You bring up an excellent point. And I think that this would be a worthwhile take, would be, and I don't know what the mechanism would be, but to have those talking head segments where, say hypothetically, after memes is complete, you grab 3 and say, Ivy, tell me about your experience with this, or hey, things got spicy there for a second, and then just get that 30-second clip so that we have a little bit of insight into what's going on.
So I had an idea. I'm really glad you said that. So I had an idea yesterday, and I'm going to make this optional for all the players, and I was going to drop this in their chats later. I'm trying to figure out the best incentive for this, so it'll probably be a little bit of degen and maybe something else. If they do a Dracula, like little confessional, and then post it either on Dracula, or they can post directly on Warpcast in the CastOut channel. That will be like some kind of incentive for doing that, and it can be their own behind the scenes sort of confessional take on what's been happening. So I'm gonna throw that out to them and have it be optional, but I'll do some tipping around those and do some other kind of incentive on those as well. So
it would be good to be structured in a way where you decide the prompt. Something that, as an audience member, what do you want to know?
Well, what do you want to know? Let's go with that.
What do I want to know?
What do you want to know? What would be your prompt? And Tim, if you have one also, what do you want to know from the players?
Without thinking about it too much, the first place I go is, and I don't know specifically what I would do, but there would be something that was visible to everyone that we could ask about. And I would like to know specifically from one person their take, but without coordination with anyone else. I don't know. There might be some sort of clever thing that can be done with it. Like hypothetically, everyone could contribute something to you, and at random you pick 3 that get posted. So it's like they can't game the game.
Okay. That's interesting. So the thing that's going to be interesting, in my opinion, is when the votes stop being civil.
Yeah.
Which may happen next week.
Which will be Tuesday. You mean Tuesday?
When the votes are like a little bit less consensus, a little bit less agreement. I obviously just want to hear who'd you vote for and why. Like, I definitely want to know. I want to hear explanation. I want to see people wriggle and squirm to try to say how they love somebody, but they voted for them for this reason or whatever.
I thought about doing that, like where they hold up the vote, and then talk, they talk into the camera really quick about why they're voting for that person. I think the reason I didn't require any on-camera stuff is because not everybody's comfortable with that. So I didn't want to put that like as a requirement, but I do want to some way encourage that. And it could be, that could be the prompt, right? Why did you vote out? Each tribe has voted somebody out.
Yeah.
But we kind of know the answer. So it's a little meh. So maybe a little bit more like, what's your favorite thing that's happening behind the scenes? What was your favorite moment of this challenge? Might be a little more entertaining at this point. But I agree with you. Next week, that could be a very different scenario. That would be what I'd want to know also. Yeah.
You know what could be really good is because you're a trusted neutral party, if whatever incentive, think about whatever incentive it would be. But if there was a contribute an honest, but a very candid, but I don't know how to say this. I hate the term spicy, but like something that is and it can be on a delayed fuse where you hold on to it and it's going to be released two challenges from now, where it is actually a scenario where Ted is like, I don't trust so-and-so. I'm working with so-and-so and this. It could be fake, but it would be better if it was real. And then so that way, if the person who gave the take is voted off, it doesn't make a difference if it was screw that guy. I don't think that they're working with the team or whatever. Getting some authentic.
Yeah, I think that's some of the other parts of this that we really won't get until the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least when certain people are out, because it will reveal too much about their ongoing strategy.
Right.
I know there are alliances.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are multiple
I know too.
chats. By the way, Ted posted something in their wow chat about she doesn't know we have this other group chat. I'm like, I know you have this other group chat, and I know there are multiple other group chats.
Yeah,
I have people telling me stuff also. I'm just not revealing it all. So yeah, there's I think a lot of that we won't be able to get until it's all over, because it will mess up their game. It'll mess up their gameplay.
Well, there's a lot of this is between us. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have a dog in this fight, but here's what I would do if I were you. Don't screw it up.
By the way, Cameron, I saw the trusted in quotes. He doesn't know if I'm trusted, apparently.
Yeah.
Trusted. And he also said that he suggested the incentive be an hidden immunity idol. Interesting. Interesting idea. Nice. That could be a random poll.
Well, and I will say this too, and I will validate, or at least instill that level of trust as you, the centralized,
the game master
hub, the game master,
the Jeff Probst of it all. Yes,
because the thing is too is that if you prove not to be, no one's ever going to do this again.
Of course.
So I will put out my weak endorsement to say that I'm not concerned about that, and also I'm not even included. And so many things that you've said have been well, take me out of that equation. I don't want to hear it. And it was something completely innocuous. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see, just see how it's all playing out. I'm loving it from a social gameplay perspective. From the gameplay, it's really interesting to see how it's all playing out.
That's my favorite part.
One quick question: is there anything that we can do to make more of Farcaster aware of how fun this is?
Just share it. I know you have been share and
Jay's is really doing
amazing. Just putting the surveys out and just sharing your thoughts on it. I love it. Anytime you're doing that.
I think the confessionals also.
Yeah, I think I'll try and get something going with that and just make it optional and give them an incentive to do it. I think hidden immunity idol is too much for that, but I'll have to think that through down the road, a better way to do that, because I already have the next one ready to go. But I'll think that through. And
happening is huge.
The happening is big. So I think those confessionals will be a lot of fun. So how did you vote and why will be a great thing for them to record and post somewhere after the fact. So we'll see how it goes. And there even could be situations where we may end up with tiebreakers. There may be a lot of things because that's got so many votes involved. It could be very interesting. So Tuesday will be interesting. And Jace, you're welcome to come back as are the 2 voted out players, but since they're busy, I think that's the reason they're voted out in the first place. I'm not really expecting them to come on, but you are welcome to come back, and Misha's welcome.
We'd be glad to.
We'd love to.
So
we'd love to have you here. I think you've added a lot of color commentary. I love it so much. So we've got a wrap. We're running a little bit over. I was hoping to do about 45 minutes. We ran a little bit over. Bracket game is still going on, so make sure you check that out. The Mole and Wow Wow packs are still available, correct?
Yeah.
To claim? Okay.
Yeah, so anybody who hasn't, you can
if you haven't claimed, if you have our Hypersub, make sure you jump in. It's in the GM Farcaster channel. I think I recasted it yesterday. Go grab your free packs. You've got them there. They're waiting for you. And I'm looking forward to Monday's game. We'll announce it on GM Farcaster, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and it will officially start at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for the players. But everyone will be able to play along on this one. So it'll be fun. And there will be a prize. I'll explain more for non-cast out players who are playing this particular game. So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm excited.
That's exciting.
Just getting you going. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I have to say, and this goes for Horse Facts, especially, and for the other people I'm chatting with that I will shout out once we reveal what these challenges are. So helpful, so willing to customize things. I can't thank you enough for playing along with us. So thank you, Horse Facts, for the Yoink game. And thank you to Redacted Person, who I will reveal on Monday, for all the work they're doing in the background. And when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's very cool.
It's Dan.
So I'm excited. It's not Dan. It's not Dan. Dan. I don't know if Dan knows what the hell's going on. He just saw random memes about himself yesterday, and he has no idea what's happening.
Dan is hand drawing T-shirts for us right now.
Right now, that's what's happening. He has no idea what CastOut is. I'm sure he will. He will soon, but I'm sure he just sees random memes and has no idea what's happening. But yeah, you can, for anybody who's in the audience, for you to just share what we're doing, recast this. I'm going to have this episode and the Tuesday episode. I didn't get a chance to put that out there. Both of them will be out later today, and those will go out onto our whole GM Farcaster feed, and hopefully folks will enjoy that and catch up. It'll give them a weekend to catch up before the happening. So exciting stuff. We're moving this along. It's going to be an individual game very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, TLDR, for being here. Appreciate you and everything with Bracket Game. And that's it, folks. We will see you. I'll see you Monday for GM Farcaster, Tuesday for CastOut Edition. And with that, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.